Nigeria's Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, has resigned following revelations that the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, disowned the degree he claimed to hold. The resignation, confirmed by the Presidency, comes amidst mounting pressure, public outcry, and alleged allegations of certificate forgery, claims Nnaji denies. His exit also coincides with an ongoing investigation into procurement irregularities in his ministry, raising fresh concerns about integrity and accountability in government. Now joining me to discuss this is Peter Ameh, the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties. He joins virtually from Abuja. I also have Magaji Mato Ibrahim as a senior advocate of Nigeria, and Declan Ihekaire, National Coordinator of Activists for Good Governance, is with me in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. All right, let me start the conversation with you, Declan. Declan, I mean, looking at this that we have seen, this recent resignation by the minister, and also the allegations, particularly the response from the university, we know that before ministers are eventually confirmed, there's usually a screening process. I would like to know exactly what do you think this reflects of all of that, and maybe, just maybe, a further scrutiny might just need to be done into the president's cabinet. Do you think this should be the case?
Yeah, I think Nnaji's case is just one out of many, and it calls to questioning the screening system, most especially the DSS, that has failed in its duty. And in a very good plan, I expect the DSS to have acted right now by probably questioning those that actually screened or that actually wrote a report that was presented before the National Assembly to screen Nnaji, because it's purely a national scandal. And moreover, since the university has come forward to say the certificate is not theirs, I don't know what else we're asking for, what else we're investigating. I also expect by now that the ex-minister should have been arrested too for questioning, because I know University of Nigeria to be one of the best universities in this country. And for them to have come out so open to say, this is not our certificate, that is enough to pick the ex-minister for questioning, and to also question those who deceive Nigerians by not screening him very well.
By those, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to the DSS that refused to do the needful. And what is the essence of DSS screening?
But DSS, some will say maybe it's just largely security check around the...
No, there's not like security check. But security check involves you being fraudulent too. If you're fraudulent, you're also a threat. So if this allegation that the certificate is forged or is fake, then those that are screened before presenting to the National Assembly for final clearance should be questioned.
All right.
But for me, the ex-minister should have been arrested by now.
So you're saying the ex-minister ought to have been arrested?
Yes, is his case is his case with the university. The university have said, this is not a certificate. Then the police should step in.
All right. Let me bring in, of course, the senior advocate of Nigeria, Magaji Mato Ibrahim, into the conversation. How much of, will I call it an offense, if at all, particularly within the eye of the law, would you say all of this is?
Very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this evening, or to speak to Nigerians on this matter. First of all, I will be speaking from the point of view of a legal practitioner. What we have on ground at the moment, despite it being so glaring and so attractive, it still remains an allegation until and unless the matter goes to court and the Honorable Minister is tried and found guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. We are still at the stage of allegation of the crime committed of forgery, not only at the university, but even with the NYC certificate. But beyond this, I am looking at it from a wider perspective. And it's actually, like my brother has just said, it's unfortunate that we found ourselves in this kind of situation in Nigeria. When you look at it, we are practicing democracy. But unfortunately, we place more premium and higher regards for the various political parties over and above the nation. Now you have a situation where somebody participates in an election or in politicking, and then whoever is the governor or the president is feeling obligated to see that he has rewarded that person. And because of that, they do the other way. Otherwise, these are things that ordinarily we shouldn't be heard, shouldn't be brought to the public domain. Like my brother has just highlighted. If the nation spends a lot of money to do budget for DSS, and we have so much respect for them, and then they are asked to screen a ministerial candidate, and at the end of the day, they okayed the person. I mean, before the screening, that person is expected to submit all his credentials to them. What that means is that they owe the nation a duty to go beyond just political glamours and make sure that whoever they are screening to represent the public in any capacity is such a person of character, is such a person of dignity and honor. Not what we are having here. I am not concluding that Mr. Nnaji or Chief Nnaji is guilty of forgery, because as a lawyer, I know very well, even if I'm there when he committed the forgery, I will not be able to say until he's convicted and found guilty and is pronounced so by a court of competent jurisdiction. But it's actually a shameful situation, and it's an unfortunate situation that shouldn't play out in this country. But people, I think we are learning the hard way. It's even a stain on the government of the day that you are appointing ministers, that you have subjected not only to screening by DSS, but you have subjected them to screening by the National Assembly. That means what has played out now shows that these people are not doing their work. The National Assembly is doing its work. It has all it takes also to ensure that the documents submitted to them are verified. Must you wait for an innocent whistleblower to go out of his way to engage journalists to carry out the investigation before you find out that the man whom you have appointed as an honorable minister is not honorable at all? So there is a lot of questions that are left unanswered, and I think the president of the country should address this and should be able to call on to all the ministers and warn them seriously. Anybody who has this kind of issue should quietly, even if it means fabricating any ground of resignation, those kind of people should be flushed out of the system. Otherwise, what we keep receiving is an embarrassment, international embarrassment on this nation.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim. Let me also move to Peter Ameh. Even though we understand that he has sort of denied these allegations, saying that it's all political distraction, particularly by his political opponents who, of course, are just trying to tint his image and all of that. But I would like you to speak also on this matter, particularly how it reflects on that process. I still go back to the process of screening, because we know it's usually pretty much bulky and lengthy, where even some Nigerians, would say, you take a bow and then they ask a few questions and then they take a bow. I mean, what does this reflect of it?
The previous speaker, especially the learned Sikh, Ibrahim Magaji, you have spoken, on the point of law, and I respect for what you say. But the issue is that in the court of public opinion, the facts are very clear, and the politicization of our agency is also undermining the credibility of those who have been appointed, and it's undermining our institution, because you can't see someone like the DSS. We have documents that say they took time over 3 weeks to screen a candidate. They didn't visit the schools. Even those days when we used to apply for school, to attend school, the school used to send information to our previous school to try to clarify if we have attended the previous school we are getting transferred from. So this level of politics that our institutions have been engaging to, only be loyal to people who are in government instead of to be professional is also affecting the quality of the work they should be doing. And you also look at the one of the National Assembly. The National Assembly have become like a spineless, loyalty to the president, where they say take a bow and go. They're also not doing very deep research and work to be able to come out with candidates that will not continue to embarrass the nation at large. You look at the INEC. This person, the minister that just resigned, which will be under trial, I believe maybe the president will do that. If they don't do that, they are further encouraging others that will continue to do this. Alex Ibrahim did it. Former Minister for Finance also did it. He's now his own turn, and they'll give them a pat and go. And the ordinary man on the street, when he commits small crime, maybe carrying bicycle or anything, they'll put them in prison without trial for donkey years. So look, the man you talk about submitted document to INEC to contest for election, governorship election of Enugu State in the 2023 election. INEC screened those documents. INEC declared him as a candidate for that election. So we have a challenge in our system where corruption is playing its part and getting scale out for high offenders, for high-class politicians. We must be able to get our country right, set it on the path of integrity, set it on the path of respect, because the international community are watching. I've never seen in most, even developing countries, when you find out that such scandals are always rocking those who are elected at the legislative chambers or ministers of this high-ranking level. It is the same thing that is happening in the ministry he also managed. If you look at NASDAQ, when he came in, he has to force the DG that is there who had just spent 2 years and then appoint another DG through the back door. So we need to, and that DG has a 5-year tenure under the Constitution. So we need to have a situation where the president too will not show that he's condoning corruption. Because in Nigeria we have a saying, a joke. Because when I read the statement put out by the ex-minister, I felt this is just taking all of us for granted. When he said that he's not, that does not show that he's guilty. Or instead of apologizing to Nigeria, he was still doing grandstanding. That's why you say in Nigeria Palace that you cannot shame the shameless. Because a situation like this, he should bury his head in a situation where he continues to apologize to Nigeria for taking us through this embarrassing scenario that has been reported in the international media. And we must commend those who have done thorough work, like the Presidency and Co., who have done thorough investigative work that could not be, set aside by the APC. So we have a challenge in our governance system that politics have taken over professionalism, politics have taken over competence and merit, and politics have dived in political consideration, political favoritism, has dived into the fabric of our appointing processes.
Mr. Ameh, I know you have a lot to say, but we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look at this issue from a broader perspective. This is not the first time that cases like this are coming up. And so this brings to the fore the issue of, I still go back to the screening process. Should there be a review of how this is done? Should even the general public be involved so as to be able to ensure that accountability, transparency, and also integrity is upheld? We'll talk about this and more when we return. Stay with us. We will be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Peter Ameh is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties. I also have Magaji Mato Ibrahim as a Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Declan Ihekaire, National Coordinator, Activist for Good Governance. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. All right, let's broaden this conversation to look at qualification generally and public office, right? As of now, I think the highest qualification, well, the minimum qualification you can have is about WAEC or GCE, even for the top job, in this country. While some are beginning to say, look, that was back then, maybe this could be applicable. Some are calling for a review. Do you think that this should be the case, given the current realities of not just the global space right now, but even our country here? So I'm going to start with you, Declan.
Yeah, thank you. You see, the issue of qualification is just a matter of perspective. Perspective in the sense that you might be a professor while you lack the knowledge of governance. You might be a doctorate degree holder while you lack the understanding of governance.
So there are two broad...
Yes, why you could be a school cert holder and be very good at governance. Governance is rendering service to the people, okay? Doing what is right to the people, okay? Having passion for the people.
So it has nothing to do with... There shouldn't be a gap, a limit.
For me, as long as the Constitution still goes that way, we should respect that perspective. But where I will totally go against that aspect is when I see a situation where somebody that has even a doctorate degree or a school cert being elected into an office and mismanaging the resources, that ought to be managed well by that person, either by stealing the commonwealth of the people, then I go against you. I question even why are you there in the first instance? Were you actually elected or selected? So for me, I think the qualification thing should be looked into if really we want to make some change. But as now, as long as the Constitution does not say anything contrary to the school cert, is the highest you can have. For instance, I know of Anambra State of today, a candidate of a political party, governorship candidate, is presenting a GCE certificate as what he has, while the deputy is producing a doctorate degree,
PhD. Maybe I should also ask Peter Ameh the same question. Do you think that there should be a review in the minimum qualification? We know that as of now is a school certificate, but some are saying that, it needs to be upped given the current realities of now.
It's even surprising that all the constitutional review and all the review they are doing, nobody has made attempt to try to review that provision. I think we should up our game. We are very educated people. We have people who are seriously learned and should be participating in governance. We should not have people who will continue to forge certificates because they believe that political scandal they will take the easier exit instead of trial. So if we continue to condone this kind of situation, and then you have a lot of forgery, and then you have less certificate. Even the certificate that you are talking, the WAEC, they say even if you have equivalent, maybe you have worked somewhere for 10 years or so, our learnership will explain further. But the fact is that what we have today does not guarantee the best brains representing us. We should increase the qualification and the credentials required for people to contest for the highest office of the land. You can't say somebody with certificate and his equivalent. What is his equivalent? And that's why Buhari was able to submit anything, and then it became our president eventually. We should this recurrent and reoccurring scenario about certificate forgery in Nigeria by politicians who are appointed by highest office without consequences is undermining the trust in our educational system, is embarrassing to young people who are taking time to go to study and graduate successfully, and not people getting patronized because of politics. If in the First Republic and Second Republic, people could be appointed because of their competence, their character, and their ability. But today, political consideration is sitting so deep into the fabric of our national development that is undermining growth and undermining the integrity of our institution. So we must increase the qualification required, and it is necessary for us to expand the screening process, and also charge those who are screening these persons that have been appointed to look away from politics, to look away from those who have appointed them, and do thorough job in the best interest of our country.
All right. I'm coming to you right now, Barrister Ibrahim. What's your take on this, particularly from the angle of the law? Do you think there should be a review here?
Democracy is about delivery, and it is the free will of the people. Now, I do not actually, unlike my two brothers that are here with me, I do not actually see the qualification as the problem that we have in this country. I think beyond the qualification is about sincerity of purpose. Now, if somebody who has just a secondary school certificate or a certificate, school living certificate, is good and vast in leadership and has the capacity to deliver, and then the same person is being loved by the people that he intends to lead, I do not see it as a problem because he does not have a degree or master's or PhD, that such a person or such people, such group of people or such constituency should be denied the leadership of that person, which is going to turn around their communities and their societies. Now, it is actually not, because we have seen a situation where people have master's degree, have PhDs, yet they are criminals. A lot has happened in this country, and we have seen so many times where it is actually not the education. The great minds in the world globally today, most of them are not really people who have those certificates in their drawers. They are people who use their brain basically to think, to innovate, and to bring about development that will advance the cause of the nations where they belong. So is it the forgery that we're talking about or we're trying to address? Is it really forgery because it is a degree certificate? Is it really forgery because it is a school leaving certificate? No. I think it is about the individuals. So we should look beyond the constitutionally ensuring qualifications of those who aspire to run the positions of leadership in this country. I think the conversation should get more towards addressing people of good character, people of good morals, people who are not ready in any way to trade with their integrity. So you could have a PhD. We have seen professors even committing fraud. We have seen professors in this country who are asked to be returning officers. Just recently, I think there was one that was convicted. So it's not about the number of certificate you have or the quality of certificate you have. I think it's about character. Right. And that was why in my opening remarks, I made this point. I said, unfortunately for us in this country, we are now beginning to promote party leadership, party support over and above that of the nation. Now, political parties should just be a vehicle that takes somebody to the public domain to serve. The moment you are voted for, you have ceased to be a member of that political party. Your loyalty should go beyond your political party. Your loyalty should be to Nigeria as a nation. And to
is that possible? Is that, senior advocate, is that possible in Nigeria? That your loyalty would go beyond the political party that put you there and focus on the people? Looking at Nigeria as it is that possible?
But for as long as this is not possible, then even when you say it is only professors that will contest, we'll still be where we are. That is why I am making the point that we should as a nation take our democracy more serious than what we are doing now. Party loyalty cannot take us anywhere. I do not have problem with members of political parties obeying their political rules and regulations, obeying their political constitutions. But I have problem with a situation where you tend to have your loyalty 100% on your political party than your nation. That is what is landing on this problem. If the APC-led government has done its homework and has looked at it beyond just mere political party remuneration, this issue wouldn't have come up. Because we have found ourselves in a situation, even the security agencies are no longer having their loyalty to the state, to the nation. They are having their loyalty to the powers that be. So if it is PDP that is leading the government, all the head of agencies of law enforcement agency, they are automatically PDP members. If it is APC that is in charge of the country, all the head of law enforcement agency automatically turn to APC. We have a situation just recently in Kano. I listened to the governor, the executive governor of Kano State, complaining that while he's going right, the commissioner of police is going left. Now, he equally accused the commissioner of police of being loyal to the APC, than to his own, to the instruction of him as a state governor who is not a member of APC.
All right, thank you very much. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be switching this conversation to talk about another pivotal issue, and that's a development within...
Law. If it is the law in this country, Now,
all right.
I agree, sir.
All right. Thank you.
If it is the law, we do not have problem with the law. The problem we have has to do with us. We are not yet prepared psychologically to do the right thing.
All right. Thank you so much.
Unless and until we are ready psychologically to do the right thing, we will still be where we are, no matter the changes in the conditions and in the qualifications to contest for public offices.
All right, thank you so much, Senior Advocate. It's, of course, nice having your thoughts on that. But we, of course, will come back. But when we return, we'll be switching gears to talk about another developing issue, and that is within INEC, where, of course, the tenure of the former chairman, Magaji Yakubu, has, of course, lapsed, and right now there's an acting chairman. We'll be looking at what lies ahead for this agency. Stay with us, we'll be right back. As Nigeria approaches the critical 2027 election, all eyes are on the Independent National Electoral Commission. Across party lines, political leaders are rising and red flags. Reform INEC now or brace up for another storm of electoral controversy. Tonight, we unpack the growing chorus of demands, the reform proposals on the table, and the high stakes implication for Nigeria's democracy. Now, from voter registration bottlenecks to the reliability of result transmission, we examine the pressure points and the path forward. Can Nigeria rebuild public trust in its electoral process, or are we on track for a repeat of past failures? Also, just yesterday, the leadership changed from Magaji Yakubu to, of course, the acting chairman now, who is May Bamuchembu. And of course, there have been a lot of reactions as to what lies ahead and the tenure of Magaji Yakubu. I, of course, would take our mind back to part of the calls for a better INEC, a better voting system, amongst others. Well, I still have my guest with me, Peter Ameh, National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties, Magaji Mato Ibrahim, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and also Declan Ihekaire, a National Coordinator Activist for Good Governance. And let me start with you, Peter Ameh. Let's just do a brief review in 30 seconds or 60 seconds of the tenure of Magaji Yakubu. I mean, he was chairman in 2015, and some will tell you that he really brought about some notable changes to our electoral process. Part of it was the introduction of technology, the IREV, the beavers, and what have you. But how much of impact would you say this has had on the quality of our polls?
For me, the people talk about introduction of technology. What is the introduction without, successful implementation? There was technology in 2015 when we had the card reader. I participated in all the meetings that led up to the point of the introduction of technology when to the card reader, including the one with the beavers. And I can tell you that Yakubu Mahmood left the commission diminished than what he met on ground. If you look at our elections, he promised so much about card reader being able to act as a dual collation process where we can have the Form ECA uploaded directly by the beavers to the IREF. That promise never materialized. And on the day of election, the goalpost changed. They said there was a glitch. Till he left office, there was no proper explanation what led to the glitch, those who were responsible, whether it was human effort or whether it was deliberate to undermine the interest of the public. So for me, it is the electoral backsliding. There's no credit that should be given for introducing something that was not useful, that did not even add to the credibility of our elections. So
Peter, just quickly,
eventually.
You said that, from your analysis, what you are saying is that he seemed to have taken the agency back. So if you are to score him, 10 being the highest, what would you give his tenure?
What I give, there was more rhetoric than action. So I was scoring 3 over 10. I'm a participant in this process. Magaji Yakubu is somebody I know personally, and I can tell you that he promised so much, and the hopes of Nigerians and those party leadership was very high. But at the end of the day, what did he deliver? Nothing. The multi-party democratic system we practice could not even flourish under his leadership, because you can't go to an election with those who are bringing money bags that are bringing money to buy votes, and there are no consequences for their action. And then those who are not in government, who cannot, dip hand into public coffers to be able to, undermine the process, do not also have the protection of the commission. The commission is an independent body that was registered, that they established under federal executive body to conduct election, to undertake election, and to organize the election. So if that primary responsibility was not carried out, why are we going to be scoring him for? You look at the Edo election, where people were saying that there were two result sheets that was in the public domain. So, and because they are printing the result sheet in Nigeria now, the electoral system backslided, greatly diminished, and it was a disastrous outing for party leaders who participated in the 2023 election. Right. I think the going forward, we must do better by giving not allowing politicians to hijack the structure of the commission. Because as I tell you,
there are issues. There are quite a couple of issues. Sorry to interrupt you, but there are issues. There's also the issue of autonomy of this agency too. But let me bring it to the studio to you, Declan. Declan, looking at, of course, the tenure of Mahmood Yakubu as chairman, yes, there are issues. But would you also say there are areas which, you would want to give him some sort of pass mark?
Well, if I'm to give him a pass mark, I will just call him 0.
You score him 0 over 10?
I'll score him 0 over 10. You see, Mahmood came with an impression of being an angel, of being a saint, of being somebody who has the knowledge of what he was about doing. And when he eventually gets in there, the contrary was the issue. The technology thing he claimed that he has brought in began to fail. And one like me would have preferred what we had in during Abiola regime, during Abiola period, where we had people queuing behind their best. But
was it entirely his fault?
I'm coming, sir. You see, his problem is that it's a case of when the foundation is bad, there's nothing the righteous can do. Who appoints the INEC chairman? Like the senior advocate has spoken here. You see, the problem we have is that anybody in power, appoints whoever will do his or her bid. And that is exactly what we're having. We need to have an institution or institutions that are quite very, very independent on their own. The DSS should be independent. The INEC should be independent. The police should be independent. The armed military should be independent. But when in the country now, where the police is not answerable to a governor, especially when the governor is not in the same party with the presidency, when a condition where even the customs director, does not even have a control of himself. Okay, INEC does not have a control of himself, and that is why you find a situation where people will commit electoral fraud, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Nobody prosecutes you for what you have done wrong. So I want to ask Mahmood, while he was there, how many high-profile electoral fraudsters has been sent to jail?
You're asking him a direct question.
I'm asking him, wherever he is now, I know he will listen. How many has he sent to prison? How many?
But is it within his purview to send people to prison?
Is within the purview of INEC to prosecute? Okay, you present your case to the security agencies to do the needful. How many were brought forward? We see videos of people during election that buy votes from people. How many have been sent to jail? And that's the issue.
All right. Let's take the opinion of the senior advocate. Senior advocate, from the angle of the law, I would like you to speak, particularly from the issue of appointment, even to, will I call it, the legal hurdles. Is INEC, as an agency of government, handicapped? Is the foundation weak?
Definitely so, because if you look at the whole exercise, there is just no how the president, who is a participant in an election, will be the one to appoint the INEC umpire. Things are not done that way. But that independency that has just been addressed by Mr. Declan is a situation that, you cannot just throw away. Unfortunately, I thought you even asked me to score.
I'm still going to also ask you. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you had to give him a mark, 10 being the highest.
I would have actually declined to score him because I wouldn't know the parameter with which I will use to give a score. I've never been a lecturer. I've never been a public
assessor. Let's say in terms of election integrity, the outcome, the process itself, and then general review.
In law, we have what we call, there is this principle of law that we say you cannot place something on nothing and expect it to stand. You see, no matter how good or how expertise Mr. Mahmoud might be, Mr. Mahmoud is handicapped. There is just no way he can go beyond his paymasters. Unfortunately, what would have given INEC some level of credibility and control is when they are made independent, not just by way of appointment, but also financially. But the situation where you have to subject yourself to the whims and caprices of leaders who are also interested parties in the conduct of the elections which you oversee.
Sorry, senior advocate. If I can come in here, some will say the role of the president here is maybe minimal. He just sort of nominates a candidate, and it's left for the House to say, you know what, we approve of this person or not. The president just lightly nominates people. So, I mean, does that hold water?
You and I see you know what I'm talking about. When president nominates, the name goes to the Senate, the National Assembly. This National Assembly and Mr. President, what is the difference? Practically, not in law. These are the situations. So we just addressed the issue of ministers now. The president nominates. The National Assembly will just tell you, take a bow and go, because of course they want to please Mr. President. So I still address the issue of sincerity or purpose. When we want to do the right thing, we know the right thing. But I don't think it's the problem of the system. Even the appointment of INEC, okay, Mr. President nominates, the National Assembly screen. But in practical terms, you know, I know, there is this collaboration between the presidency and the national, especially in recent time. I'm sorry to use this word. We have not seen anything that Mr. President wants that goes to the National Assembly and is rejected. We have not seen. In fact, if they were even wise enough, I expect once in a while, even if it is just for drama, for the sake of drama, they should be rejecting one or two things from Mr. President. But there is practically nothing that comes from, if the public like, let them cry and cry out blood. Once Mr. President writes anything to the National Assembly, that thing must be done, unless if it is Mr. President himself that says, I don't want it anymore. So this is the kind of democracy that we practice. And how do you expect that you practice something in a different way? Even from the system that we copy this, they don't do this. So we are doing it in our own way. And we expect the same result with those sincere and straightforward nations who everybody goes to. You are voted as a member of the National Assembly. Your duty is to go and do your work. You don't want to be in the good book of Mr. President or the good book of Mr. Governor. But this is what we find ourselves in. You have a situation where even the nomination of who preside over the affairs of the National Assembly is being controlled by the presidency. I'm sorry, I am not asked to x-ray some of these issues, but I think this is where we are, and that is the basis of our problem in this country.
All right, thank you.
We are ready and to be sincere to ourselves and to the system, we will remain where we are. We just keep discussing front and back, and we still remain in the same problem that we find ourselves.
All right, Senior Advocate. When we return, we'll be taking our final thoughts on this, particularly with what should be done when it comes to putting a new SAR in charge of that agency. What are the things to look out for? Stay with us. We will be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. Thank you for staying with me, gentlemen. Now, before we go, because we are really racing with time, I would like to know your final thought on this issue, particularly the new leader or the new chairman. What are those things to look out for in terms of personal values and also the process of selection? What do you think can be done to ensure that the process is better, enhanced and is qualitative? There are also calls that maybe tribe should also be put into consideration. So I'll start with you, Peter Ameh.
I've said what needs to be done. First of all, we need to take the appointing authority from a man who is also a player in the game, the president, we need to take the appointing authority for him. There have been several reviews. Justice Way Electoral Reform Panel of 2008 has recommended that. It just electoral violence report of Justice Lemu 2011 recommended that. It just Kenneth Tunamani report under APC recommended that. So I don't know why we're avoiding that. And if you look at the Constitution will put safeguard on how to protect that we have a credible person that will lead the commission. You know, you look at section 154 that talks about the consultation with the Council of State. The Council of State are not small people. These are former presidents, former serving governor, and former chief justice of the federation. If they can sit in a meeting and the president will present a candidate that is not qualified, that should not be due, and they look the other way, then we have a problem of character, not a problem of who appointing process. Then you have a process where you need to the National Assembly to also validate what the appointment is. Even to remove the other chairman, you need to third. So all these things have been put in place, just like the Nsukka and other my friend have said. It's about issue of character. It's about issue of, do we really have the interest of this country at heart? But going forward, the commission too is overburdened. These are part of all the recommendations. We should be working towards unbundling the commission and keeping it in the strength still that the only duty is conduct of election, independent national election, not the one that is the commission is responsible for registration and regulation of political party. The commission is responsible for delineation of constituencies, also responsible for electoral offenses. So this heavy weight of work in that commission also undermines its effectiveness. So when we are bringing a new INEC chairman, we will look at the provisions that are saying, the person should not be non-partisan. It must have had the credentials to be able to contest House of Rep. The person must have a person of impeccable character, and these are the challenges, these are the requirements that is there in the Constitution. But we really get this is right. All we need to do is to get people that have the interest of this country at heart, that will sit and say, oh, I am satisfied with the appointment that has been given to me. I'm not looking for a second term like the president, or I'm not looking for another 5 years term as the INEC chairman that have just gone out. Because
thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. Just quickly also, let me ask you, Declan, do you think what some people are saying, you should also consider tribe for balance and equitable representation, that certain regions have never been INEC chairman. Do you think that holds water?
Well, it can only hold water in the sense that if only we can get neutral person, a non-partisan person from any of the other tribes, or from other tribes that have not been part of the system. But you find now that most of the people that have been appointed, one way or the other, have party interest. And there is nobody in power today that wants to appoint an opponent to head a particular sensitive department like INEC, like the police, like other agencies in this nation. See, let me just open up to you. How come a serving police officer of higher rank is retiring tomorrow, and next tomorrow he goes into politics? You ask yourself, when did he start practicing the politics? When did he start practicing the politics? It's a question. It means while he was in that position, he was already doing the bit of politics. So many of these retired officers, retired PAMSEC, retired this, retired that, as soon as they leave, even within their offices, they practice politics. They are loyal to the party in power.
So that issue needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
And I think, of course, the Constitution actually has it that once you're a public officer, you need to be neutral, politically, unattached. But just like what we've said, implementation seems to be the issue. But quickly, sir, senior advocate, before we go, your final thoughts on this. 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. The point has been made, and for the sake of repetition, we have our beautiful laws on ground. We have a very beautiful country with diverse culture, diverse tribe, and whatever you can think of that makes life beautiful, that makes life more acceptable, that makes life easygoing. Our greatest challenge now is how to harness these diversities these beauties of life that God has bestowed us with and make use of them positively for the growth of this nation. We shouldn't be seeing the diversity as a problem to us, but we should rather see it as a means that will take us to greater heights. Now, appointments at the federal level, of course, there is already a commission that guides again issue of federal character. For whatever it is, I think it's not a bad thing to carry everybody along, but this should not be done at the expense of merit, at the expense of competence, and at the expense of integrity.
All right.
Now, we shouldn't just politicize every appointment. We should be able to go beyond who is there, whether the person is from my tribe or is from my religion. I think we should be able to look out for a situation where we have public offices being manned by people who are of seasoned integrity, who will take the country to greater heights.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a privilege having this conversation. Thank you for your time. Peter Ameh, National Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties. Magaji Mato Ibrahim, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Declan Ihekaire, National Coordinator, Activist for Good Governance. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for your time. All right, well, this is where we, of course, close curtains. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakbo at Digboyi. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.